Oh, hi, I'm Hannah Lily, I'm from London.
I'm Daisy, I'm from Lincolnshire.
I'm Ella, I'm from London.
Hi, I'm Kat, I'm from Manchester.
I'm Eloise, from London as well.
I'm Zainab, I live in Abu Dhabi.
Cuntry Living is basically a feminist zine / collective. We're going to put on some events and stuff, and it's a necessary space in Oxford because there's not really that many explicitly feminist places or spaces in Oxford, so it's just nice to have like a open space. Anyone can submit to our zine, and we're not like, we'd only take something out if we explicitly thought that it went against our like values of like intersectional feminism and stuff, and other than that we're like really like open and we're welcoming, and it's open to anyone anywhere in Oxford or like anywhere in the world, and it's just like a kind of creative space which is welcoming, I think, to whatever feminism means to you.
Yeah, we really don't want it to be like about Oxford.
No.
And like about sort of like the university. It's all about like everywhere and everybody coming together.
And I think also like the age group of people, we work with like teenagers and everyone at like whatever uni, a lot of people do come from uni, I think, is people's first exposure to feminism and sort of radical politics or zine culture, so it's quite cool to sort of try and facilitate that, and we just try and be as friendly as possible so that people feel like they're welcome in a space that I guess a lot of people who've suddenly realised, oh, maybe I'm a feminist, feel a bit alienated by like a lot of feminist culture, so we try and be really friendly.
It's been like a really good way for like people who don't like have maybe like a publisher or like a platform to like get out their voice and like make sure like what they want to say like that is really important is being heard. So like that's why zine culture is so great.
Yeah, because it's independent. It's like a radical form of publishing, but it's not new. It's just, I think the rise of the internet has made it more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Everyone sees it around. Yeah.
And also I just think that anyone can make a zine. Like ours is like quite a large scale, like we make hundreds of copies and we have like a press and stuff, but like you can just make it, you could make it in your bedroom from like a piece of paper, which means that it's like an easy way for anyone to organise and like just organise and spread their thoughts.
Very accessible.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's like so accessible and
Like validating as well, I guess.
yeah.
This is going so off track, I actually cut this bit. The idea isn't new, it's just now we put it in paper, now we print it, or now probably put it on like Instagram or something. We do have some men contributors though.
Oh yeah,
men can
and like non-binary people, and like we really want to push that as well, because non-binary people and trans people definitely don't have like a platform, so it's like really important that we like try and make sure our platform is accessible for them.
Yeah, I just think that social media is just so great. I just think it's a really easy way to get your voice heard and stuff. Like obviously there's a lot of bad things about the internet and like people are really mean on it and stuff like that and blah blah, but I just think that it makes it way easier to like form communities and like reach out to people who you wouldn't have like encountered otherwise. And like in terms of us, like social media, like since I like started making the Twitter like more just like doing more stuff on it and making it more active, and like since we got an Instagram, like it's raised our profile so much because it's just way easier to get people to like hear about you and get to know what you're doing. And
it also means that like people can like say, oh, like I like this bit about the scene, but also like you can make this bit better, or like I don't feel like my voice is heard, and like so we can actually like hear so many more people and then like make the zine like so much more accessible, which is like massively important.
Like coming from like quite a deprived rural area, like that's a really important way like as I was growing up to like get into just understand feminism and like get introduced to it. So yeah, like on a kind of national scale.
Also, it means that there's no kind of geographical borders. That's one thing that really makes sure that we're not exclusive to Oxford, because so if I share a country living thing, all my friends in Abu Dhabi would be able to see it, and that means that like the influx of feedback that we get and the submissions we get are just from everywhere, which is exactly what we want. We kind of want to be friendly in as broad a scale as possible. So with regards to keeping our zine intersectional, I think first of all it's quite important to remember that Oxford is a predominantly white space, and that
and middle class.
and that is the system that we're operating within. But to ensure that intersectionality kind of works, because that's like one of our main principles, we make sure that the articles that we get wouldn't alienate specific specific intersections or minorities, and we're very careful that what we publish stands up for like what we actually believe in, and we're very aware of feedback that we get or any advice people give us, and would pay close attention to being called out, because like that's what we do. People have different opinions, and we want to make sure that we remain a space in which as many people as possible feel comfortable to be part of.
Like I really welcome like people telling me like that's inappropriate to say, or like people teaching us like
you want to learn.
You want to learn, like, and like that's like one of the best parts about doing this. Is
like an example of that is at the front of each issue there's the Country Living like declaration, and like that evolves all the time, like the wording in it. So it's just kind of like outlines like our basic principles or whatever. But we always we change it, like each issue we review it to make sure that like based on the way that discussions have evolved, like we realise that we're not like, I don't know, like excluding anyone, or so we're all like, that's just one example of how we're constantly improving. Just getting better every day.
I think the Facebook group and the zine Country Living have quite a complicated relationship because they did begin as the same thing, and so now a lot of people assume that the zine is the same, but it's not. It's actually really different now. Like, I mean, it's massively smaller than the Facebook group for starters.
Because Country Living, the zine started like 4 years ago, and like the editors have changed every year, so like it's really evolved. So they started from the same route, but
whereas like the Facebook group has stayed like, I would say, quite similar.
Yeah, exactly. The Facebook group's grown in numbers.
I think it used to be more like the zine, and now it's much more, and this is good, like people get called out on it. It's much more of a
discussion space.
I think
the only time I've ever posted on that group was when I found these cool like history of art memes, and I was like, these are funny, and that's like a good space to do that. Like we on our page, like we just try and publicise our content and our like events and our thoughts
like
and
who we
whatever.
support and stuff.
So
like
we're not really there as a discussion space. So I think like we've probably all used the group at some point, but just not as Country Living, just as like general women trying to
I
find
think
our
it's
way.
like definitely like evolved like in different ways.
Yeah.
And like I would say that one of the things that as the zine we really want to do is like make it, like as Ella was saying, like make it really welcoming, and like we want people to ask questions and feel like they can ask questions and like not feel like they're gonna say something wrong, and if they do say something wrong we're gonna call them out, but we're not gonna call them out in like a way that's gonna instigate debate.
Embarrassing way.
it's not a call out culture.
Our entire vibe, or at least to me, like, is so friendly. So one of the reasons why I was so comfortable and so keen to get involved was because it's just like such a wonderful group of girls. Whereas the Facebook page, like, I'm genuinely scared to post sometimes.
A lot of people feel the same way.
Because I feel like people want to call you out. There's a kind of moral high ground thing going on, and I actually just can't be bothered to deal with that.
That a lot of people like have got different levels of education, and like
100%.
before I came to Oxford, like I had like no idea what feminism was. Like I just like had no knowledge beforehand, and like I would make mistakes all the time, and like I definitely regret making mistakes. But then there's also like there's that element of ignorance that like you just can't get away from. Like you can't get away from it, and I feel like that's what the Facebook group like lacks a little bit. It sort of expects you to like have that knowledge like already, and like be born with that knowledge.
It's worth saying that feminism itself as a movement is academically elitist. Like it rests on quite complex gender theories and like ideas and sociologies, which you can't expect everyone to know, and that's something that is hard on the Facebook group, because people who have come from different social backgrounds, different educational backgrounds, like it's not your job just to call them out and make them feel embarrassed. But then again, I think it's worth saying that we've also benefited probably from sharing the name.
Definitely.
Like we have massive visibility because we're also called Country Living. So
I think it's a good space. I just wish we didn't have the same name.
But the name is so good.
The name's great. I don't know. When I told my dad about the name, he was like, "Oh, that's a nice name." And I was like, "This is how we spell it." And he was like,
My dad's always like, "Oh, your magazine."
So yeah, mainstream feminism. I think like feminism has sort of like come into like popular culture and like sort of like dipped out. Like it fluctuates definitely, and like what I think is that like recently it's been great because like lots of shops and like lots of like clothing brands have sort of been like feminism, like girl power and stuff, which is great, and like it at least like is getting some more like what do you call it, like
Visibility.
yeah. But the problem I have with that is that, and I am like also like I do it. I go into H&M and I will buy like a phone case that says like girl power on it because I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool. I love this aesthetic. But then I'm like, it's also like taking away from like the DIY culture, and it's sort of like it's like co-opting and capitalizing on something that started as something that wasn't like really funding capitalism, and that's like that could be really quite problematic. And also like as a feminist, I don't want to sort of like say that I get all my clothes from like Topshop and like which isn't like very body positive, and it's like there's sweatshops and there's all different problems with that, but then it's a very different like fine line to work between.
A lot of like what goes behind mainstream feminism aesthetics. So like you're going to H&M and there's a top that says like feminist. It's like kind of cool, but also it's kind of empty behind it. Like exactly what Kat's saying about like sweatshops, like that's oppressing women. Like really bad. Like it's kind of hilarious when you see like women with unrealistic body standards like model and they've been like Photoshop loads, like being like modeling in top that says feminist. It's like, are you supporting women or are you like supporting
This
I don't know,
aesthetic.
this aesthetic? And I think like I found recently like so Country Living we like always quite associated with pink and we really like it. Like I love pink, and but I think when I was like 15 I was like, oh my god, my favourite colour is pink, and it caused like a breakdown in like my feminist self. So I was like, how can that be my favourite colour? And I think it can be co-opted by like basically like Lolita culture and like infantilizing of like women to be like young girls, and sort of like can be sort of by a capitalist market and by like kind of a lot of like mainstream culture like Lana Del Rey and stuff like that, which like is great but also just can be a bit of a problem. So I think we're trying as Country Living to have things like reclaiming pink as something radical and cool and not like
girly.
babying.
Country Living, like, because a lot of like the aesthetic is generated out of like this cut and stick sessions we do, and so that's like a really important element because it's a very friendly space, it's a very communal space, but at the same time like that's something that is supporting like the content of the articles and the content of the artwork, and that's something that we're really passionate about because they're the voices of different people who want to kind of speak.
It used to definitely be more like less intersectional, but I think that's just like as like the zine has learned, like,
and that's a world. Just
like that's the
not
world.
dramatic, but you like think like people are more focused on being intersectional now, so like that's natural that the zine would just pick that up.
Yeah, and it's been like since like I started, like I got interested, like it's been going to like more zine fairs and it's become more part of that DIY culture, which is like super cool, and it's also mean that we can like extend it out of the Oxford bubble.
Yeah, I think it's more out of the Oxford bubble now.
Yeah.
Which is good, and like we're just gonna keep trying to do that every issue, just take it to more places around the country and like
in the world. We've shipped it to like Denmark before and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Like also like trying to make it happier. Like I think when like we first encountered the zine, well me and Zainab, like I think it was all like it could be quite like dark, and I think that was because it's what we're saying about Country Living as a space in Oxford, like it's quite hard to have a place to vent about like if you've been a victim of sexual assault or rape or kind of all the like quite traumatic aspects of womanhood. I think it's hard to find a place to vent that, so I think Country Living provides that space,
which is good.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
I think we're also like on top of that, not instead of that, but like on top of having that space, trying to make it so that people can put their art or like all the positive great things about sort of like their life experiences, so that it's like I don't know, at the moment we're really calling out for art and just like positive funny anecdotes and like good Facebook chats you have with your gals about like I don't know, confidence boosting stuff, because I think that's kind of where we're trying to just make people sort
that's
of...
That's also like part of being a woman, it's not just like assault and anger and misery, like we
really
feel various things.
Yeah, for me like a massive part of my feminism is just like
memes.
Having like it's just memes. It's just memes. So we have a Country Living Instagram, and it's like been remarkably troll-free so far.
Except for one.
Except for one lone
man.
Okay, so he had like 0 posts,
0 posts, 6 followers,
and he's
called,
and he was called Meme Lord of the Fools.
And he found
and he just kept posting stuff on it. He just kept commenting on our things. The Instagram was like something about. It was kind of a long post, but it's basically a thing about Christmas Adam being like the shit version of Christmas Eve, and that's really funny. It's about men's rights activists and like whiny men whining about feminism.
Yeah.
So then Eloise made like a collage of like that post on like a backdrop of like disembodied male torsos, which is just kind of funny and like, you know, like subverting objectification and stuff. Like it was cool. And this guy just comments being like, shouldn't you not be against objectification, blah, blah, blah. And then
like men are objectified all the time.
Yeah.
We were like...
So then I changed my name to Meme Lady of the Fools on Instagram.
And never looked
so that
back.
I could comment being like, oh my god, my husband, like I missed you. And then, yeah, but then we actually blocked him from our page. And so then now it's just me talking to myself about like the complexities of objectification and like the male gaze and stuff with the Instagram name Meme Lady of the Fools. Yeah, and I said that to him. I was like, oh, well, I just don't think you care that much because you haven't commented on any other posts apart from the one about men. And then he just commented something annoying on a different post to like prove me wrong.
We want Country Living to like be a space for every single voice. Like if you want to like vent, if you want to like share your experience that's been really harrowing, and that like we want to empower people in that way, but we also want to empower people in like letting like be happy, like because there's like Oxford is stressful, and like because we're Oxford based, like we want people to
like,
enjoy
misogyny is stressful.
Misogyny is stressful. Like trans misogyny is stressful.
like racism
is stressful. Like we like, and sometimes it's like really great to like be angry about it, but then sometimes it's kind of nice to like come together and like
laugh at it,
be happy. Like and that's definitely important.
Yeah.
Basically, women in Ireland and Northern Ireland aren't able to get abortions, and that's because of the 8th Amendment. And so if we repeal the 8th Amendment, that means that they can have abortions. And it's also like, it's important to recognise that it's not like women aren't having abortions, and if we repeal the 8th, they can have them. It's like women are having illegal, unsafe abortions. They're going to like prison for it. Like there was last year, a woman went to prison for buying abortion pills.
Having to pay loads of money to travel to other countries.
Traveling across the
it's like
borders.
so difficult.
And it's
if you're
also majorly traumatic as well.
Yeah. So it's basically a hugely pressing problem, and I think for me, I think it's, I don't know, I campaigned a lot against it, against the 8th Amendment last year, and I think coming to Country Living and having a space where we could do something creative around that, and try and like reach out in solidarity with sort of Irish sisters, and also sort of recognising, like, I think checking your privilege is kind of part of intersectionality. It's about like figuring out where you stand in the world and how you can sort of stand with people. I can't remember the exact quote, but there's a quote that's like, if you've come here to help me and look down on me, like, I don't want your help, but if you've come to stand shoulder to shoulder with me, then like welcome along. And I think that's basically what we're trying to do with Repeal the 8th, is say like we recognise that we're really privileged to be able to access these services in mainland UK, because even Northern Ireland's part of the UK, but they can't even access it. So we're just saying we're really privileged to have this. I mean, also you have to have like 2 doctors saying that you can have an abortion before you can have one in this country, so there is further progress to be made in this country before women are totally in control of, or women people are in control of their pregnancy stuff. But I think, we just kind of try and, it's part of our intersectionality and part of something. And other campaigns we've supported are Oxford for Dunkirk, which is like going to the Women's Centre in Dunkirk, which recently burnt down, so they need a lot of support to try and like rebuild that. And what other kind of... Yarlswood. We go to Yarlswood Immigration Detention Centre and try and stand in solidarity with our sisters who are in detention.
I think we don't want it to be inward looking, and I think part of the thing about having a zine which you publish, it takes time, so it's not always immediate. But like I think like on our Facebook page and stuff like that, we're able to like more directly respond to stuff.
That's where social media is really useful.
Yeah, exactly. That's like another about having the 2 in conjunction, like social media and the physical zine. I think the main problem we have, but like because I don't know, there's kind of 2 different markets, like Oxford and then out of Oxford, kind of. So like the main problem we have in Oxford, I would say, is people thinking we're the same as the Facebook group and then being scared of us.
Oh yeah.
But then out of Oxford, people generally, and obviously like the Country Living Facebook group is not just Oxford, but it kind of, I think it's probably most predominant
I think
in
if
Oxford.
you're the admin to Oxford, it started here.
So, but whereas if you're not in Oxford, then you've probably heard of the zine because it's something you're interested in, like you're interested in zines or feminism or whatever. So in general,
it's been good.
It's been
really good.
Yeah,
Also, I think as it's grown just beyond the zine, like having a social media presence, and also one thing that we focused a lot on this year is running more events. So at the end of, like, just to spotlight female musicians or female DJs or whatever the case may be, and as that's kind of happened, there's just been more in Oxford that people can kind of get involved with, which means that more stuff that people can identify with, so it's just
because not everyone writes. Not everyone makes collages, but obviously there's a lot of female talent that we sort of want to support.
Oh my god.
Can I just say, like, you know, when people say like your generation is so sensitive now, like you can't take a joke, whatever, it was our parents and grandparents' generations that would throw like a hissy fit if a black person drank out of a white person's water fountain. Like, I didn't make that up. Like that's like a massive thing on the internet. Like, that's just one example where we're not actually like super sensitive. And I also think the term political correctness is so loaded. Like, it's just made it just means being respectful. Like, it means
and also
thinking about
it's gaining self-respect as well. It's being like, don't call me that. Like, don't say those things to me. It will like offend me and upset me, and I deserve more than that. Like, if I'm like walking down the street and some guy catcalls me, like last night I was walking home and I was wearing like literally a bin bag, like I looked awful, and this guy was like wolf whistling me from across the street, and at first I was like, no, I'm gonna like ignore it, and then I just turned around and I was like, fuck you, like, and you're allowed to do that. And I think our generation allows us to be like, instead of like just take it on the chin, like bear it, whatever, it's just like,
I'm just sick of like people being like, oh yeah, no, you can't, like, it's just a joke, it's just their sense of humour. Like, I've had people being like, somebody told me like to my face that homosexuality was a mental disease. And I was like, so like, I'm queer, like I've got a girlfriend, and like I know a lot of queer people, and like, I was like, that's like majorly offensive, and that's like not cool.
It's also wrong.
Yeah, it's like fundamentally incorrect, and it's also like trivialising actual mental illnesses. And it's like, that is so problematic. And then I had somebody else in that friendship group tell me that, oh, that's just his sense of humour, like, you like get on with it or leave. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna leave. Like that's not cool. And also, like, trigger warnings, like, we've had trigger warnings forever. Like, you know, like when movies are aged like 12, 15, 18, that is essentially a trigger warning.
I would proudly say that country living is a safe space. Like, that's fine.
I like
that's
that.
what we want. It's a good thing.
I don't want someone to be reading country living and then come across something that's going to trigger them and make them upset. Like, I want them to know that, so then they can then either prepare themselves or choose not to read it.
So I think, like, if you are someone who has PTSD or various like things that make you feel sensitive, I think like you spend your life avoiding stuff. Like, you're always constantly like content noting yourself and being like, oh, I probably shouldn't read that, I probably shouldn't do that, and it's just like exhausting. So it's quite nice to be able to like give someone a bit of like a map so they can navigate, like, hey, this is our zine, like we've put in all, like, we're not getting rid of like content unless it's just wrong, racist, like terrible, like we're just saying like this is how you might want to navigate this if you have certain triggers that will like just negatively affect your day.
Being like considerate to people.
It is being considerate.
Nice.
I quite like snowflakes. I like snowflakes.
I have a really great song about snowflakes.
Do you want to sing it?
No.
I love like the musician Anime. She's just so defiantly intersectional and like not afraid to kind of put things, like be like plain speaking in like important issues and things like that. I feel like her music is just a really great resource for me personally.
Mine is like changed every day, but probably Maya Angelou is like a number one icon of mine. I was so sad when she died. Like, I just wanted to meet her. Like, I just wanted to like get to a place in my life where I would deserve to meet Maya Angelou. But sad times. Now I won't. That's fine. But I just think, like, one of the things that I find hardest about, I don't know, like the world, is like the dichotomies that exist in being a woman, and like how people think that you have to be one or the other. And like Maya Angelou just like did so many things in her life. Like, she like was an activist alongside like Malcolm X, but she also like was a sex worker. Like, she wrote like so many amazing books and poetry, and she like raised a son as like a young single mother. Like, she just like transcended every kind of like limit that people try and make for you, and I just think she's amazing.
I was like, I met Lady Phil, and she set up UK Black Pride, and like I heard her talk, and she was like so like as a queer woman, and like she was like just so like motivational on what she was saying about like fighting and never like sort of like giving up, like that was sort of like a massive turning point in like me like being a feminist and like feeling like I can stand up for myself and like my sisters and siblings and like solidarity and things like that. And that was just so great. And also the fact that she turned down getting like a ladyship because of like the connotations of colonialism and like imperialism, and I was like, wow, like that's like really really great, like because that's like not many people would do that, and like now people still call her Lady Phil, but she's
oh shit, that's so cool.
She's not actually a lady, she's not affiliated with the Empire,
so cool.
and she writes for Diva magazine, which is a great like queer women and like trans women non-binary magazine, and like yeah, she's great. And also like it's gonna sound a bit soppy, but like the people like sat with me. Like because like I've got loads of feminist idols like and loads of like all that sort of stuff, but also like the people around me that like day to day, like when we talk on like our Facebook chat and like bring each other up and stuff, like your friends who are like in that fight with you, and, and like my girlfriend is like, yeah, that's just, that sort of thing is important.
I don't know, there's a woman called Stella who, she died last year, but she's like she was a disabled activist, and she did a really cool TED talk that we could probably link you somehow, and it's just like, it was just really empowering to see, like identifying as a disabled woman myself, seeing another disabled woman smashing it and just like not contextualizing it as such, so just like kind of getting on with life and just being great, and I don't know, just like she basically talks a lot about how people expect you to be like a hero or a struggler, and she's like, actually I'm not struggling or being a hero, I'm just getting on with my life, and you go with your life and that's fine. And I think that's just really empowering.
This is super softy as well, but I look up so much to like my mum and my grandmothers and just like powerful women in my family, because one of the most important lessons I think is like, if you're able to pass on to your kids just the value that your worth isn't determined by your gender or your race, and raise them with like the same kind of entitlement as a mediocre white man, like that's it.
Oh yeah, so I just read this book, actually, I'm just going to plug this book because I think it's awesome, called Argonauts by Maggie Nelson. And have you read it? I have to read it. And so Maggie Nelson is the writer, it's like semi-autobiographical or autobiographical, I don't know, doesn't matter, it's so good. And it's about like queer relationships, and it's about her and her partner conceiving and having a child, and it's the only book I've ever read about like pregnancy and motherhood, which has been like fully empowering. And it's also just like not a conventional heteronormative heterosexual couple, sorry. And so I don't know, it changed the whole way I thought about like desire and relationships and gender identity, and that's just like a recent idol that I've come across.
Okay, so our email is cun4re, so country but with a 4 instead of a T, living @gmail.com. Our Facebook name is Country Living Zine. Our Twitter is cun4re living zine. That's
So
it.
is our Insta.
Oh, and so is our
it's
Insta.
Instagram.
Yeah, so yeah, like get involved, like
Yeah, give us a follow, it's so funny.
Yeah, that's really funny.
and we're collating for the zine now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
like,
please submit some stuff to
Submit
us.
some stuff, and like yeah, like
Or help with Cunt Day.
Whatever
Yeah.
gender you are, we want to publish your stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and green print are really great.
Yeah, Green Print are
We love
great.
Green Print.
At East Oxford Community Centre, massive shout out to Green Print.
If anyone wants to do any printing, go to them.
Yeah.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.